Okay, so I'm about to make this window frame with this Fixtech FS200, which is pretty good material actually. I'm quite impressed with it. So you can sort of see how flexible this stuff is. It can flex around, it can squash pretty well. So it's good material and it's pretty strong, like that's gripping pretty, see, like the stick breaks before it comes off this stick. Try again. I can't actually, just gripping it like that, I can't actually pull it off. But if I like tear it off, yeah, so it's pretty strong, you can tell. I can't actually get this off. So this is just gluing to a piece of wood, so yeah, I managed to tear that off, and I'll try and pull this apart. So it's really thin here, I can probably just snap that pretty easy, but this bit here, I can't pull this apart. So I've made this jig, and so the acrylic sits in this position, and that's correctly spaced so that there'll be a 5mm gap between the inside of the frame here and the window. And the reason for that gap is so that it has room to flex as it heats up and cools down. So that sits there, and I'll apply the Fixtech 200 to the window pane, and then I'll put this on top. So here we have my window frame ready to be glued up, and I'm going to be using Fixtech FS200, which is an acrylic and polycarbonate window flexible adhesive sealant, and I've had some good results so far. This is the last window frame I'll be gluing up out of 4. On the instructions in the back, it essentially says make sure you sand down all the surfaces that you're going to be applying it to. So I've used 120 grit, just a quick sand. You can see on the back here my paint's lost its sheen, which means it's sanded. And then what you do is you wipe it down with this stuff, isopropyl alcohol. That gets rid of any oil left. And then you can apply it. So for the actual acrylic window pane, you can see I've taken the sheen of the window away, and I did that using one of these scourer pads, just rubbed over it like this, and so that will give a bit of mechanical adhesion. Yeah, and then you just apply a nice thick bead right around the window, and then apply the frame over the top. You can see the finished result here. So I've glued this pane in. This is looking from the back. So that's what it looks like now. You can see the bead there. It's relatively neat. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for my purposes. And I'm going to fill in the hole, all this gap here with the Fixtech. Okay, so the first thing I've got to do is make sure that this piece of glass is aligned with the edges of the frame. Otherwise, when I peel off the masking tape, it's going to peel off the nice bead I've made. Okay, I think we're good. So lift that off. Tape off, and we can start applying the Fixtech 200 to the frame. And we've got to apply it in a really thick bead. You have to have a fairly big hole because it's quite viscous, and otherwise it really hurts your hand because you have to pull so hard to try and get it out. Even now it's hurting my hand a bit. Maybe I'm just a wuss. The gap between the frame and the window is 5mm, so the bead has to be at least 5mm thick, and of course I want a bit of squeeze out. It would be good to have an electric caulking gun. Yep, that's it for that tube. Alright, so I just grab a knife, carefully cut the end off, and I'll just reuse this nozzle. Back into the caulking gun. And we're ready to go. So I'm just trying to build this up, so it's definitely 5mm. And lots of squeeze out isn't really a problem. We'll be able to use that on the other frame. Alrighty, I think we're about ready to put our frame on. So I've got this little tool, which is for doing fillets and smoothing this stuff out. Just remove that big clump. Okay, let's put the frame on. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I got that squeeze out really good. And some of the other frames I did, I didn't quite have enough in there. So now all I need to do is put gloves on and smooth this all out. Now you'll see how well this stuff smooths out. So a fair bit left over. So I'll just put all this excess in here. Now. And that's looking pretty smooth, if I may say so myself. Now, one of the tricks to getting good results with this sort of thing is to, when it's good, just leave it. Don't keep overworking it, because the more you overwork it, the worse it can sometimes get. So I'm just going to go around once more on that bit. And you know what? I'm going to just leave it at that. Now I'm going to start pulling the masking tape off. So when I did the masking tape, I overlapped it always the same way, so now I can peel it off in one. Oopsies. I made a bit of a mess in one spot, but apart from that, it's looking pretty good. So here's our final result. You can see that's where the tape sort of undercut a bit and pulled it up when we did it. But I've learned, don't try and fix it now. Wait till it sets, and then maybe with a knife we can fix it up there. So yeah, that's the finished frame. All right. The next step is to fill in this gap in the frame with this Fixtech FS200 acrylic and polycarbonate window flexible adhesive sealant. It's good stuff. It's really easy to work. So I'm just gonna put a liberal amount in here, squeezing hard. So this window's already been glued in previous, and now I'm just filling in this gap. Okay, I've got most of it in there. So now I'm going to smooth it off with the filleting tool. Probably going to have to put a bit more in there. I think I might need some gloves on for this. Need a little bit more. Alrighty, I think that'll do. So now we'll get this masking tape off. Start on this inside stuff. Alright, now we just gotta let that dry. So this stuff dries relatively slowly. So 39 minutes at 23 degrees, that's to develop a skin, where the skin starts to go hard. Cure rate, 1 millimeter every 24 hours at 23 degrees. So this is 5 millimeters thick, so it's gonna take 5 days to fully cure at 23 degrees, which actually is probably slightly less than that at the moment. So yeah.